Hey guys, welcome back here to another Pauper video, and today we're asking ourselves, is the day of cast down over? So guys, just a quick one. I know we're on double masters here, but we're talking about from 2020, which was when cast down got downshifted to common, and essentially this card is basically Doomblade in Pauper on steroids. So legendary creatures have existed. We do have cards like Ramirez de Pietro, whatever it is. Some cards from Legends with a common and a 6 mana, 6/3s, well 4/3s with first strike or whatever. So no legendaries have actually been playable. And effectively this says destroy target creature. It, however, does have some instances, like the Ring Tempter New were legendary, but again, not massively playable. However, with the release of upcoming Spider-Man, which is pretty soon, as you can see here, by Beetle, these are all Spider-Man and Rarity Common, Doc Ock, etc. There's also, if we keep scrolling, there's Venom as well, which is another talking point that I kind of want to mention. And these are all we've seen so far, right? And I'm not going to dive in about the playability of these cards at all. I am more just going to, like, playability of the other cards. I'm just going to talk about the playability of cast down, right? So this card here seems fairly solid. This card's a legendary, which seems like it's not the worst. And my main thing is, right, is cast down as a card is basically being in Pauper, 1 and a black, destroy target creature. So for the most part, it's just the datum point of removal, like black decks that run swamps or ran Defile, you know, people, mono black sack decks that sacrifice a lot ran Tragic Slip, people have ran Spin and Darkness, people have ran Snuff Out, but for the most part, cast down has been the point. You run 4 cast downs and then other things. With a little bit of a caveat, right? Obviously, Brood Scale cause people to run Snuff Out, but again, that's another argument, right? And essentially, destroy target creature is pretty good, but that means anything that is 1 and a black, destroy target black creature, doesn't get a look in, right? Because this hits it. Whatever that card does, pretty much this hits it, right? Obviously, that's an exception of sacrifice effects, like Extractor Confession, etc., but they're different sort of kettle of fish. I'm talking like Doomblade effects, right? Removal sort of bars to beat. This has no downside as far as 1 and a black killer creature goes. And with the release of Spider-Man, which for those that don't know, this isn't coming to Magic Online, we are getting a Universes Within set. So these will functionally be the same card. They might not necessarily have, say, web slinging here, which is a keyword. I don't know. But the keyword it has will functionally be the same, where they may cast this spell for a white if you return a tap creature with its owner's hand, and it will be a 3 mana 3/3 legendary creature, Spider-Human Hero. Like, that is what it'll be. It just might not be called Spider-Man Webslinger, which is for another video, the problems and stuff like that causes. But for the most part, this and this is kind of where I want to talk about, right? So this card seems relatively playable for a get-go. And these are only the first few spoilers we've seen. So I'll say if this card's playable and this card's playable, and I don't know, maybe Spider X Daring Dino becomes playable, just for example and argument's sake, you have 3 creatures now that cast down doesn't kill. But in a world where cast down is the removal of choice, followed up by Galvanic Blast is the next removal of choice, and then Bolt and Lava dies everywhere, what is to say that, for example, something like Spider X and something like, especially like Venom here, so this card on rate is very bad, right? Let's agree and get this out the way, right? I am not saying Venom is a good card, right? But there's 2 things that this, well, there's a few things that this does, right? This is a 5 mana 4/5 with Death Touch, so that's fine. It's legendary and it's a symbiote villain. It does something in the graveyard as well, which is what it is. But for context, if legendary creatures become playable, even if they don't, right? We have this instance where Venom, as a card, is a legendary creature, so it does not die to cast down. It is a black creature, so it does not die to snuff out. It has 5 toughness, so it does not die to Lava Dart, Lightning Bolt, and Galvanic Blast. You're at the point where this card, in a vacuum, is not very good. And I don't think this card is very good, and I will repeat that. In context of metagame, I would say bar flying, this is bar being unkillable in the current state of Pauper. And that's not a bad thing, by the way. And I'm not saying this is broken. Please don't take this out of context. What I'm trying to get at, though, is cast down has been free for that long that maybe the time for cast down being free to play as a 4-of is getting to that close point, right? If they keep printing Venom, they keep doing Universe Beyond, they keep printing legendary creatures of common like this, that is borderline playable. Like, some are playable because they're okay statted, right? 1 mana 3/3, all that sort of stuff. Like, this is a 3 mana 4/3 that ramps you. All that sort of stuff, like the borderline playable. That basically, cast down becomes less free. And then even if it doesn't become free, we have this 4 mana 4/5. This 4 mana 4/5, which can basically go to unkillable. Like, if this had flying, you couldn't kill this with Crackland Shaman. So then, how does a deck like Jund Wildfire, for example, kill this? Because they run Galv Blast, they run Cast Down, and they run Crackland Shaman. So, like, you've got Crackland Shaman to kill this. It has Death Touch, so it bounces off a Writhen Chrysalis and kills their Writhen Chrysalis. So we're getting to the point where this is pretty close, and that's only in the context of the format. And I think for people who've played Standard for a long time, right, you've often had back and forth between their 2 mana removal spells, like Go for the Throat, soon to be Heartless Act, soon to be this, soon to be that. That is a great place to be. What's a Shoot the Sheriff is another one, right? Because Shoot the Sheriff says destroy target non-outlaw creature. And outlaw creatures are like rogues, thieves, or whatever they are, and all that sort of stuff. Outlaws, like, that gives a really interesting place to be in a format. Because when you have a 1 black destroy target creature, removal become like you can't look at a card in context of a metagame. So you can't look at this card. If Cast Down was, and this was just a 4 mana 4/5 Death Touch with put 2 characters on target creature, activate, gains Death Touch, right? You could look at this card, okay, this stats suck, right? Bad card next, because Cast Down kills it. Everything kills it. But when you look at it in context of current Pauper, very few things kill this. So therefore, you can then get to the point where I could probably win games because people cannot kill this in their deck. Similar to like a Bogus aspect. I am winning the game because people cannot kill my giant creature fast enough. And that's fine. And that's a great place to be. And that is a good place to be. But it's also at the point where I'm really looking forward to. I am a big fan of having not free removal, like Cast Down. Because having free removal does, as I say, gets rid of the excitement of deck building. Because you can't build decks in sort of metagames. This was a big pull for Broodscale, as I touched on earlier. When Broodscale was legal, it was hard to justify playing Cast Down as a 4-of, but instead of Snuff Out, when it was too slow. 2 mana to hold up for the entire game in case they comboed you was a tough ask. Snuff Out, however, is not. 4 life is not tough to ask. So what that meant is that Mono Black Sack, for example, became a deck. Because everyone's playing Snuff Out. It probably has a mid to okayish matchup against, mid to bad matchup against Glee. So therefore, every other deck that's just sitting there going, I am going to snuff your creature out. Mono Black Sack just looks and goes, okay, you do your worst. Mono Black Sack is just full of bad creatures, right? It's just full of terrible, terrible creatures with 3 payoffs. Right? But in the context of the format at that time, it was great. The format now, it's just like, okay, I have a big guy and hope you don't have it. But it's still a fine deck. It's a synergy-based deck that does its thing, and it's great. But in the context of Glee metagame, it was, your stuff cannot kill me. You cannot kill my creatures, so I am free to do whatever I want, because your Snuff Out is pointless. And that is a big pull, and an interesting deck-building decision to make, and a really exciting one. So I am one for hoping that this is getting to the point where I actually think they print a lot of legendary creatures where cast down isn't free, and it's actually a deck building choice to do so. And I really do hope that, for sure. Because I'm interested to see if we don't get any more playable legendaries that basically make people think cast down's free. I would not be surprised if people could play this card, because it is quite hard to kill. And that is the thing that I want. And I do apologise for obviously the clickbait, but I just want a food for thought discussion, which we have discussed on the podcast as well. So please check that out. And I basically want to dive into detail on this, where I think that effectively stuff like this is a good place to be in Pauper. And I really do hope we get to the point where we have more legendaries. And that's taking apart my thoughts on Universe Beyond and Universes Within. I am irrelevantly whatever. It's besides the point. You've got to accept it. But the fact that these are printing more legendary creatures in Pauper is good, because it's not only makes it interesting deck building, right? Because they're legendary and they're not free to play. But then, as I say, you get cast down, which is then cast down's not free, which is a really interesting point. And I really do hope people are more on board with this, and even this food for thought. I wonder what your guys' thought is. Like, do you think this is just a deck building thing, and I'm absolutely talking rubbish, and it'll never see play because this card in particular can't be killed by quite a lot of threats? Obviously, in a nutshell, there is other cards, right, where I think Webslinger can see play in White Weenie, and that's another thing that cast down, like, that's a thing that cast down can't kill. You know, like, does Green Red Ramp play Spider X? It's a Colossal Dreadmaw that basically can't be cast down, but also has Ward, so they're paying for it even if they do find another cast spell. Like, is that fine? Does that make this look more appealing because this can't be cast down? Does this 3 mana 2/3 with reach become more exciting because it can't be cast down? And this is the sort of thing that I'm trying to say is, like, does these cards get more interesting because they can't be cast down, which are standard 4 of in pretty much any black based deck, right? Like, does this 4 mana 3/3 with flying get more of a look in? Because it can't be cast down, it can't be Crackling Shaman. It gives something else flying, so it can stop them being... I wish this was activated instant speed, but yeah. But, for example, like, these are sort of interesting thoughts. Again, Doc Ock. It's a 5 mana 4/5 legendary. It can be snuff outed, right? Because it's blue. But it can't be bolted, it can't be Galv Blasted, and it can't be cast down. Does that make this have more of a playable thought? And I really do hope that this is the case. Like, it'd be pretty exciting to see. I'd like to see this more deck building challenges all the time, because I think it's really cool. And it's one thing that I definitely want to see more in Pauper, is less free removal for sure. But it's not a net negative, it's just a cool addition to the format. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit of food for thought. If you do like these sort of discussions, sort of Pauper thoughts, Pauper discussions, like ideas in deck building, please let me know. If you think it's rubbish, I won't do it again. But it's definitely just something to try. And let me know what you think in the comments below. And of course, do not forget to like and subscribe. Of course, we are here nearly at 3K subscribers. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace!